Studio Chess. Welcome to Think, Design, Provoke, the podcast, an intimate space where every week you receive inspiration about the fascinating world of interior design and all the benefits and effects in your lifestyle. My name is Francesca, and we will create meaningful conversations to unveil the enigmatic perception of interior design as a discipline that simply focuses on aesthetics. We will expose everything from interiors to its relationship to architecture, surroundings, history, and culture. We will challenge the misconception of interior spaces confined in architectural boundaries. We will understand that interior spaces provide the setting for human activity and are created to fulfill human desires and needs where sensory pleasures and engagement are celebrated. That is the built environment, the connection between individuals, physical spaces, experience, emotions, and its social consequences. I am your host, and I invite you to join the design conversations that will elevate your consciousness about interiors. Consciousness that will embrace the beautiful possibilities of manifesting all your senses in your space. Hello. Welcome to episode 4 of Think, Design, Provoke, the podcast. I am so joyful to be here with you on another Friday of valuable design conversations. I am recharged from warm weather, a loving breeze, and stunning scenery. I just returned from vacationing on my island of Puerto Rico, and it was so beautiful. It was my first visit in 7 years, and the first time for my husband, so creating new memories with family and friends was definitely priceless. I have read all your messages through social media and emails, and I am ecstatic with your continued support and engagement with me. It is very, very exciting. As I have stated before, I am thrilled to have you as my loyal listener each week. So thank you for tuning in with me to create this intimate space between us. This podcast is presented by Studio Chess Interior Architecture Design Studio. In this 4th episode, we are going to converse about how colors impact your psychology, behavior, and emotions. Color is one of the most dominant perceptions of the physical world and one of the most powerful tools for interior design. At the same time, color is one of the most complex physical and psychological phenomena to understand and use correctly. Let's dive in to discover some of the fundamentals and how color affects your mood and its effect on spatial perception. Color has 3 basic qualities that are important to understand: hue, value, and intensity. The hue is the basic color, that attribute by which, for example, blue is distinguished from red. The value describes the degree of lightness or darkness of color in relation to white and black. The intensity of a color is defined by the degree of purity of the hue when compared with a neutral gray of the same value. When white is added to a hue, its value is raised and a tint is created. When black is added to a hue, its value is lowered and a shade is created. Adding gray of the same value to a hue creates a tone. The psychology of color studies the hue as a determinant of human mood and behavior. Colors have qualities that can cause certain emotions in people. It explores the way color influences emotional responses, as well as how responses to color are affected by factors such as age, gender, and culture. Color is another element of design, and your feelings about it are often deeply personal and rooted in your own experience or cultural background. For example, white is used in many Western countries to represent purity and innocence. However, in many Eastern countries, it is seen as a symbol of mourning. I mentioned earlier that I just visited my native Puerto Rico. Let me express to you how color is used in my hometown of San Juan to convey feelings of happiness. All San Juan, for example, is curated with a lot of saturated colors. When a color is fully saturated, it is considered the purest, truest version. They are vivid, rich, and bright. When I was walking through the streets, I was immersed in a colorful environment full of blues, oranges, violets, greens, reds, and yellows that hugged me in a dynamic atmosphere. I felt excited, I felt happy, I felt energized. So the question becomes, why is color a powerful force in our lives? There are some general statements that seem to hold true for most people. The first is that people distinguish between cool and warm colors. The cool colors are generally considered to be blue, green, and violet, while the warm colors are red, yellow, and orange. Cool colors are considered to be restful and quiet. Warm colors are seen as active and stimulating. Reds are often seen as exciting and hot. Yellows are regarded as cheerful. Greens are associated with nature and are sometimes used to connote cool, restful environments. Blues are also cool colors and can be calming and restful while implying dignity in some situations. Color impacts our life. Think about it. The red color in traffic represents danger in many cultures. Traffic signs that require immediate attention and reaction are usually in red. Color also influences perception of temperature. Whether you are feeling warm or cold can depend on the color tone of your environment. In a room painted in a warm color, temperature will feel higher than the same temperature in a cool colored room. If you think of temperature-related associations to these colors, this is not surprising. Blue represents water, winter, ice, freshness, rain, wind, and also your lips turn blue when you are cold. Think about that. Warm colors like red or yellow produce images like fire, sun, summer in your mind. A state of consciousness creates an altered perception of time. Red initializes a survival reaction to cope with potential danger. The perception of time in those situations shifts. In a situation when you are nervous and cautious, the time can feel endless. In a busy restaurant with limited seating, the use of activating colors like orange, yellow, or red are appropriate to ensure customers leave quicker. But at an airport where travelers should perceive waiting times for delayed flights as shorter instead of longer, the use of a passive color like green is perceived as relaxing and a shorter sense of time. When we think about the effect on spatial perception, much of a color's effect also depends on its value and intensity. A light value of a color will make a room appear larger, while the same hue in a dark value will make the room appear smaller. This is why it is important to understand the ratio value of color. Too much white or light color invokes a sterile environment. Think of a hospital. While a good balance of light colors will produce airy freshness and a sense of greater space. Inversely, too many dark colors may produce a closed feelings of sadness. Think of a storage warehouse. However, a good balance of dark colors will produce coziness and a sense of safety. Hue, value, and intensity can be used in many ways to affect the appearance of a space and the objects in it. Bright warm colors tend to make an object, such as a piece of furniture, appear larger. A dark color will make an object look smaller and heavier. Light neutral colors extend the apparent space of a room, while dark values make a space feel closed in. Warm colors tend to advance, while cool colors recede. These principles can be used to modify the spatial quality of a room. For example, A long, narrow room can be visually widened by painting the end walls with a bright, warm color and by painting the side walls a lighter, cooler color. A high ceiling can be visually lowered by painting it a darker color. Individual pieces of furniture can be made more prominent if they are much lighter than a background of dark floors and walls. Conversely, a large object can appear to be smaller if its color is light and similar to its background. To create spaces that are not only aesthetically pleasing but also promote well-being and productivity, it is important to leverage color psychology. I personally do not believe in color trends or in the color of the year. Please be aware that those simply represent a marketing tool and not a design solution. The color scheme selection should be coordinated based on the purpose and atmosphere intended for the interior space, the amount of natural and artificial light the space receives, the demographics that will utilize the space, geography, and cultural history. Those are your parameters to select a successful color scheme in your space. Isaac Newton established color theory when he invented the color wheel in 1966, and we will discuss more about it in further episodes. Color is essentially the way our eyes and brain perceive different wavelengths of light reflected off objects, which describes how long the wave is. In Idaho, for example, the color scheme of our local landscape is completely different than the landscape from my hometown in San Juan, especially in the winter season. The palette is more neutral with a lot of browns and grays in variations of tint and tones. The environment is more soothing, quiet, and steady. I feel calm, I feel rested, and sometimes I feel tired. As I stated previously, feelings about color are deeply personal and rooted in your own experience or cultural background. Remember that color is a power which directly influences the soul. So I ask you, who are you? If you feel identified and connected with this podcast, please join the design conversations and invite your friends and family to be part of our community. I will be here every Friday to chat with you about interesting topics within the fascinating interior design world. On the next episode, I will talk with you about the relationship of color schemes and light in interior spaces. If there is a specific topic that you want me to discuss, or if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me through Instagram or Facebook. Also, you can send me an email at thinkdesignprovoke@gmail.com. Please follow me on my social media platforms at Studio Chess to continue the design conversation. In the episode notes, I am including the contact links for your reference. If you find value in this content, please share this episode in your social media or chats, and remember to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite audio platform. Thank you for your attention and for being on the other side. It is my absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'll chat with you next Friday, and remember, everything in the built environment is by design, and you are part of it. Ciao, ciao!